I think over the years Canada failed abjectly to engage adequately in Asia. The previous Conservative government, which was voted out of office last October in 2015, had in fact a rather detached attitude towards Asia and saw its commitments increasingly to Europe and to Afghanistan. The new government under Justin Trudeau, the son of Pierre Elliott Trudeau, who in fact was responsible for Canada's recognition of the People's Republic of China in the early 1970s, has announced that Canada is back. That was part of the Liberal Party campaign slogan. And in fact, he has been, as the English would say, out and about a good deal, attending an APEC meeting in Manila. More recently, he's been at Ise-Jima in Japan for the G7. What Canada has to do is to rebrand itself, and part of that rebranding is that Canada has to be engaged with regional organizations on a consistent basis. Canada's failed to do that over the past, and of course, as a consequence, many of our Asian interlocutors, even those who were deeply sympathetic to Canada, felt compelled to say, is Canada really interested in the region? It's far away, it seems remote from the affairs of Southeast Asia and even of Northeast Asia. So I think and I hope that the new Liberal government in Ottawa will in fact move actively to re-engage. There has been long-standing engagement by academics, by entrepreneurs and others, but in terms of a overarching Canadian engagement strategy, this remains to be formulated. But it's interesting to see that in the upcoming Shangri-La Defense Dialogue, there is a very large Canadian delegation, and both the Minister and the Chief of Defense Staff will be in attendance. And certainly the message, I think, that is being delivered is that in the future they will have to attend on a regular basis if they wish to establish Canada's bona fides in the region and to become properly engaged. One thing that we could do when we come to East Asia is to consider recreating the South China Sea Workshop, which Canada funded for many, many years in the 1990s with Indonesia as a co-chair. I know that in many quarters in Canada there is a growing concern about the way the UN Convention Law of the Sea in the East China Sea and the South China Sea has been misinterpreted, misapplied, in many cases distorted and ignored, and that's a tragedy because UNCLOS is one of the great international conventions, and the Canadians were deeply involved in the 1970s, early 1980s in the formulation of UNCLOS. So this is a matter of growing concern in Canada. We also, of course, deploy our naval forces into Asian waters. Frigates from the Canadian Navy will be in this area later this year and into next year. So there are, in fact, vehicles for telegraphing to the region our national naval commitment. There are interesting diplomats for Canada afloat. Thank you.